Okay. Hello, everybody. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Chimoge's Comments. This is the latest commentary reaction. And I'm doing this one to the Kevin Samuels, Your Average at Best full clip. So, first of all, this video is going to be going out on multiple platforms as always. So, please, whatever platform you're watching this on, YouTube, Facebook, whatever, please like the video and or whatever the platform says to do, and then also subscribe or follow my channel on that platform, so you can see all the other great videos I have coming out for you and all the other great content. For those of you who don't know, I'm Chimoge, hence why this is called Chimoge's Comments, and I will be reacting to the Kevin Samuels Your Average at Best video. Now, for those of you who don't know who Kevin Samuels is, he is I guess you could call him a dating coach and social commentator who's part of the manosphere and the red pill community. And if you don't know what the manosphere and being red pill are, I'll go into those in depth in a lecture I'm going to do later. But for now, the manosphere essentially is a group of men who online who like talking about gender issues essentially, and being red pill is just a fancy way of saying that you hate women, basically. They wouldn't describe it like that. They say it's more complicated, but that's really what it is. And then of course there's an overall manosphere that's, I mean, it's mostly white, but I suppose you could say everyone's part of that. But then there's a black subset of the black manosphere, and that's what Kevin Samuels in. But after this particular video is when he went more mainstream, and more people got to know about him. So anyway, I'm gonna give you my thoughts on the video. I've seen it before. This is like a year old, I guess a year and 4 months, because this came out in December 2020, according to the view there. But yeah, I'm gonna tell you what I think. So let's watch.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, are you a PhD?
Oh, I don't think I started right at the beginning. Sorry. All right, let's see the direct opening. Got that like mood music thing going on. It's like the club for seniors. I mean, that's his thing.
Okay, can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Those were hers.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, are you a PhD?
No.
Okay, and just so you guys know, in case you don't know what's happening, Kevin Samuels, how his show usually works is he'll rant on something for like an hour, or I guess you could say talk or whatever. Then he'll have people call in to ask him for advice or to disagree, whatever. And it's like 99% women that'll call in. And you'll notice here, I guess her dogs, this particular lady who called in for advice or whatever, her dogs are the bark in the background. So then he looks at the camera and goes, oh, those are hers. Why is that? Because there's this particular narrative in the manosphere that like all women, especially black women, are single and have dogs. So he just throwing more red meat to his red pill base. And personally, I don't like dogs. And I mean, there is a thing with certain single women having dogs more, but I don't know, to say that's like representative of all or most ridiculous. Even rule a girl out just because she has a dog. I mean, don't get me wrong. If you want to be my girl, don't, plus marks if you don't have a dog. But dog isn't gonna rule you out. It's just not something that's in my head. But it's a big thing for these red pill people. But anyway, let's go. Oh, mom just texted me. Say hi to your moms, everyone. You have a good relationship with your mom so you don't become red pill. But anyway, let's go.
Yeah, I'm a PhD.
How many dogs you got?
One.
Really?
I'm sorry?
What kind of dog is it?
He's a cane corso.
He's a what?
A cane corso.
What is that in English?
It's a larger dog, and their breed is meant for guarding and protecting. They're very protective of their home and their family.
Okay, so what's your disagreement?
Honestly, I don't have a disagreement. I just came here because
Okay, and also just note the really weird and direct way he talks to people. There's no initial greeting to warm things up. So already he's creating a hostile vibe when he does that. And I get it, maybe he's at the end of a long day and he has to talk to a lot of people. So he wants to get to the point, but I think you really have to avoid being that kind of direct and curt with people, because like those having greeting people, because as y'all, if you don't know by my name, you should know I'm Igbo. Greeting is a big thing in Igbo culture, and that's rubbed off on me. So people who don't greet properly, I think that they have issues. Because if you don't take the time to greet someone properly and exchange little pleasantries, already your interaction is not going to be good. So that's just poor social skills from him that creates a lot of bad things that happen on this platform. But let's keep going.
I honestly want some advice from you.
It says disagreement day.
Oh, I know, but this is my first time catching it on live. Normally I'm asleep. And
you have a job?
I do. I own a business.
Okay, so I do too.
And I do have a question.
But I have a business. And if you wanted my advice, you could always book a session if you can't catch us at the show live.
I was trying to go on.
Okay, and here, Kevin Samuels, I think here he's valid to be annoyed, because he set aside a particular day when he only wants to talk to people who disagree with him. And then there's other days and times when he talks to people who want advice. And she's violated that. So I can understand him being annoyed. But it's just about how he handles it after this point. Because at this point, I think when she's not agreeing, either he could choose to accommodate her and be nice, or he could just politely kick her off. But he chooses to do something else. So let's keep watching.
Earlier,
but all you have to do, man. But see, what kind of business do you own?
I own a pet grooming, doggy daycare, and indoor
okay.
dog
So
farm.
what you're basically trying to do is, I have a disagreement day, and you basically came in and said, "Damn your topic. I want to ask you what I want to ask you," and But you are more than welcome to go on my website and purchase your time to talk with me one-on-one. Because what you're trying to do is rather rude. But I will go ahead and do it, because I'm going to use this as a teaching lesson. How old are you? How old are you?
I'm 35.
35 years old. 35 years old, and you're a business owner. And what's your question?
That's a dad thing.
So my issue is, I want to know, at what point when I'm just meeting a guy, do I tell him that I'm a business owner? Because my problem is that when I try to date down and the conversation comes up to where I own a business, the guy is either like, "Hey, can I come join in on you on that business? Or can I put some money and be a business partner?" And I'm not looking for that. And I honestly...
Hold on. I need to be clear on this subject. Where are you at?
North Carolina.
All right. So just pause it there. So there you'll see how Kevin Samuels asks his questions. He asks some very odd questions. He typically does this. He asks the woman their age. I don't think he asked the dress size, but he asked what her job is. But these are just very superficial questions, right? And he tends to judge people off these very superficial metrics and determine their whole worth, like in the dating world and even in life in general, based off of that. And I'm really not a fan of that reducing people to those kinds of metrics out of some arbitrary standard. I mean, really, it is a capitalist, or I hate describing things as capitalist, just because y'all will know when I do my videos talking about economics. But essentially, capitalism is not the only bad economic system that white people came up with, and arguably what we're under right now is not capitalism. But long story short, that value system comes out of the economic system we're under right now, as well as just general white culture. Um, and that's another issue I have with Kevin Samuels, just a black man with the white software fully downloaded into his brain, just letting it operate, letting his mouth run. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that already he's determining how much this woman he's interacting with is worth based off of those very superficial metrics. And then you also see the way he's engaging with her is very rude. He's cut her off. So already these are little things in a conversation, but they kind of set the conversation up for failure. So I think you can't be too surprised what happens next.
And you're saying when to tell somebody you own a business?
Because I find when I date down, guys see an interest and want to be like a business partner. And I'm learning that maybe I need a high value man because that's what.
Well, first off,
all right. And then also there's this term high value man. I'm sure most of you probably heard at this point, or a lot of you, but if not, essentially that's a term. I'm not sure if people in the manosphere created the term, but they talk about it a lot. And essentially, a high value man is their estimation of what the best type of man is. And essentially, it's just a rich man who is basically a rich man. They add some other parameters to it. Basically, if it's you're rich and you earned your money through white collar work, essentially, that's a high value man. So yeah, I mean, again, it's a very shallow, very flawed way of judging people, but that's where that terminology is coming up. And you know, a lot of women will flock to these manosphere channels because they want a rich man, or they just want a man, period. So then they'll imbibe this rhetoric, and then they'll start to think that maybe the high value man is the one they should be trying to attract or whatever, and then that could lead to these interactions. But anyway, that's why she's bringing that up.
Ma'am, I really don't understand. What kind of man are you talking about? Because owning a business is no different than having a job, in my opinion. And so I'm not getting what you're saying. When should you? I'm not understanding why this is an issue. If you're, what kind of men are you? What kind of men are you dating?
I try to give guys that not a chance.
You try to do what?
I try to give guys that's not on my level a chance.
Why? What do you mean on your level? What does that mean?
That's making 6 figures or more.
But I don't okay. You try to give guys who are not on your level a chance. Why?
Because I honestly want a 6-figure guy. Is what I'm realizing.
Okay, so let me just go ahead and net it out for you. You ready?
Uh-huh.
The guys you want aren't asking you out.
Well, I haven't been putting myself out there, honestly.
But you put yourself out.
All right, just stopping it again. So a couple things jumped out to me here from this point. So one, he's already failing to address her specific concerns because she came up here talking about a specific problem she as an individual was having in her life. What she said is that she earns 6 figures, but when she owns her own business. And by the way, owning a business is way different than having a job. Like, then you control your own time, you control how much you pay yourself. You know, you can control the environment. It's way different. So Kevin Samuels saying that is ridiculous. But anyway, she said that when she dates men who have less money than her, they tend to want to become her business partner, and that's not what she's looking for. So she's getting frustrated, and she's wondering if she should start dating men who make as much money as her or more to avoid that problem. Now, I will say there is a lot of discourse online now, and in general, about women not wanting to date men who make less money than them, or looking down on men who make less money than them, even if they themselves make a lot of money, such that only such a tiny percentage of men would make more money than them. And that's a very deep conversation, and obviously, I don't want to get too deep into that now, because that is literally like a lecture in and of itself. I kind of have it planned out. But long story short, I don't approve of hypergamy. I don't really think it's a healthy thing, especially if you're making a lot of money. But crucially, this woman is not necessarily advocating for that. She just has a very specific problem. And also, going into the second thing I wanted to comment on that jumped out to me here is that she gave some context. She didn't even give all the context to her situation. So if Kevin Samuels was really trying to help her in good faith, he would be asking more questions, trying to draw out, okay, how many men have you dated like this? What are your thoughts on, in general, on dating a man with less money than you? Blah, blah, blah. Just trying to flesh out the whole picture and then giving her some advice out of kindness. But that's not what he's doing. He just jumped to made assumptions and jumped to conclusions about what was going on in her life, which is why he then said, oh, the men you want aren't asking you out. Well, how do you know that? He didn't necessarily say that, So again, he just projecting onto her, and he's in attack mode. So that's what's going on.
Out there enough for the guys you don't want or beneath you to ask you out.
Those are like guys I met online.
Right. So, again, the men you want are not asking you out. See, you ladies do this. You go and deal with men who you feel are beneath you, and then you ask how to fix them. I'm not beneath you. I don't know how to fix a guy that's down there. That's not my concern. The better question is, why can't you get a guy on your level? That's the real question.
Like this on your level.
Well, first of all, I would tell you what I said in here automatically is a problem. Why you would come onto a show that you know is a disagreement day? It's selfish. It's like, yes, ma'am. It's like, I want what I want. I don't say.
But again, he's right to be annoyed that she came on disagreement day and asked for advice. But then why attack her like this? Just let her off kindly, or once you entertain her, be nice. No need to be an asshole. But anyway, that's what he's doing.
Things for no reason. That's why I asked you questions. You're 35 years old, a business owner. That means you understand what business is, and you know this is a business. And I have a show title. And you said, "Damn your show title, I want to talk to you." But you could have went to my business and booked time to talk to me, but you wanted what you wanted, how you wanted.
I'm sorry.
No, and I'm using this as lesson. That's the problem with too many of you black women. You don't do shit the right way with black men. That was improper. And when I told you.
All right. Another big problem I have with Kevin Samuels, the coonery. Notice how he just singled out black women there. He just looking at one individual woman who happens to be black. He doesn't like what she did or is doing in her dating life. And then he generalizes about black women in general. I'm talking about how they don't do things right with black men. First of all, even though most black women date black men, right? She didn't even say the race of the man she's dealing with yet. So again, jumping to conclusions, but then also just the fact that he wants to single out black women out of all women for having a certain flaw without evidence. I think that's just anti-black, honestly. And it is a big reason why his platform is blown up, because he really plays on that. If you just go through his platform and look at all the thumbnails, every time he says something negative about women, it's a black woman. And then even when he's just talking about the black community in general, he says a lot of coonish things. He said that black people need to stop resisting racism. So I mean, these men are disappearing. I mean, y'all already know I'm not a fan of this man, but this is I'm just reacting to this because this is a video a lot of people know. But yeah, it's real ugly and gets worse from here.
You the right way, you still were like, well, whatever. So I'm gonna use this. When was the last time you had a relationship?
Like the end of last year around December.
How long did it last?
A year.
A year. And was that man? Did you go to college?
Did I go to college?
Yes.
No, sir.
Okay. And how long have you owned your own business?
9 years.
And how long have you been making six figures or more?
The last 3.
Okay. Why do you need a man making six figures?
Because I'm finding out that the guys that I date, it's not working out.
What does that have to do with money?
Because I feel like I need a guy that I can respect and admire, and I'm ambition, and I want a guy that has that drive too. And when he doesn't, I find myself, encouraging, like, hey, babe, you can do this and you can do that. And then,
all right. So in North Carolina, what percentage of the population, what percentage of men in this country make six figures or more?
I think it's like 5%. I'm not
closer to 10. So,
okay.
10%. All right. So the question is, what do those men who make that kind of money, who all women tend to want, what do they want?
I feel like they want arm candy, somebody who can have more to bring to the table than just looks, but also bring balance to their life. I feel like I can help them out on.
Okay, slow down. I'm not understanding. You said they want arm candy, then you contradicted yourself. They want somebody that more than just looks.
Yeah, arm candy, but something behind, bring with it.
Again, another thing here. He's not talking to understand what she's saying. He's not responding or sitting back to listen to understand. He's listening to respond and listening to where he can pick apart what she's saying and just destroy her, basically. And I mean, she hasn't articulated herself perfectly here, but if you're having a good faith conversation with someone, you can ask in a way to get them to explain. But he's just, I mean, he hasn't really asked for more context in a good faith way at all. He's really just going in there to make her feel bad.
And more in depth.
Do you know any men who make six figures or more?
My dad and my uncle.
Do you know any men that you are related to that make six figures or more?
Unrelated to?
I don't know why the men she's related to count.
Yeah,
men that you are not related to.
Not on a personal level.
So you don't know them. You don't know what they want, but you want them. Ma'am, I'm going to suggest that you really don't know what you want. And saying six figures is just something that you get taken from out there. But I'm not hearing this rooted to anything. But what do you want ultimately? Do you want to be married, children, what?
Yes, I want to be married.
Do you want any children?
Yes.
How many?
I have a son now, so.
Okay. How old is your son?
He's 13.
Where's the father?
He's not in his life.
I didn't ask that. I said, where's the father?
Well, he's not like in it like I would like him to be.
All right, so let me go ahead and take this down, ma'am. Men who make the kind of money you're talking about have options, and typically they don't want to deal with women who have 13-year-old sons who are used to dating men. This doesn't sound appealing. to the kind of man you're talking about. Do you understand what I'm saying?
All right, again here, he's making more generalizations, cutting her off. Like when she, tried to explain how many kids she wanted, he just cut that off and focused in on the son she already has to try and put her down. But I just wanted to say also, it's not necessarily true that a rich man would want to date a woman with kids already. There's this big narrative in the manosphere that like women who have kids are garbage, and no one should date them, and no one wants to date them. But that's not true because, again, there's a roughly equal percentage of men who are single who have kids themselves. So those people would be open. A lot of them are open to dating other people with kids. So, I mean, especially because this woman says she's 35, so men at that age or older, there's a good percentage who would want to date women with kids. I've just seen that observationally. So, and I haven't seen any broad-based data to contradict that. He hasn't provided any broad-based data to contradict that. He's just kind of asserting it. So again, he's just putting her down unnecessarily without having the facts to back it up.
Sam?
Yeah, but I was thinking once I start booking session with you that
I can't change men.
I know, but I can approve myself, and I feel like I have a lot to offer to those type of men.
Oh, okay, but see, you should have stopped right there. I just told you I cannot change men.
That brief technical difficulty anyway. Let's continue.
And you said, once I book a session with you, I'm not a miracle worker. I'm telling you what they want. And you're still saying, yeah, but I want them. They don't want you.
But I have been working on myself this year and booking your...
Okay, ma'am, but okay. 35, 13-year-old son with a sketchy father. Why would a man who's in the top 10% of earners, who women across the country want that?
Because I have a lot to offer. I feel like...
Would you want your son to... If you had a son making that kind of money, would you want him to bring home a woman who had a 13-year-old son from a sketchy father? Or would you prefer him to get a woman who had no children, was younger, and easier to get on his program?
Depending on his age.
See what I mean? See what I mean? This goes so deep for black women. They will even... should have been an easy question. No, I would not want my son to bring... I want the best for my son. That should have been the appropriate answer. That's why I sat up. That is bullshit. You should want the best for your son.
All right, and there he goes again in attack mode based off a kind of arbitrary standard. I mean, he's pretending there's only one right answer to his question. Then this lady's trying to give a nuanced answer, and he's blowing up on her. Who's obviously, like, whether or not someone has kids alone cannot determine whether or not they're going to be the partner to someone. There are just so many other factors that go into it. So I think the idea that someone like that should automatically be ruled out, and even more so the idea that everyone already just wouldn't want to be with someone like that is wrong. I mean, he's running with it based off his talking points.
Of course.
But this is... But... And are you thinking... my God.
If he brought home a woman, yes, I feel like I'm the exception to the rule. But no,
you're not. That's the problem. You all think you're the exception to the rule, but your life is proven to you that you're not.
My love life is not that good. I agree with you.
That's my point, and ma'am, and that's my point. You ladies all feel like, listen, you ladies all feel like you're the exception to the rule. And then when someone like myself comes along and gives you a dose of reality, instead of just accepting it, it's like, yeah, but I'm special. You don't know any men on this level that are not your father, that aren't related to you. That means you don't know these men. You don't know where to go get them. You don't know what they want. But you're still saying, pick me. They don't want mid-30-year-old baby mamas. I'm trying to be polite, man, but they don't want them.
This is him when he's trying to be polite. I don't want to see him when he's trying to be mean. He out here killing people. But anyway, let's go on.
Can I ask you a question?
Did you hear what I said?
Yes.
Why is that so? Okay, go ahead.
Why is it so?
Go ahead.
From my point of view, I feel like I get what you're saying. They do have better options, but also those better options are younger girls. Those younger girls don't necessarily 20-year-olds are not necessarily attracted to 45-year-olds.
Bullshit. I'm 51 and I can't beat them off with a stick.
All right, and another thing here again, Kevin Samuels with a total lack of nuance. It is true that there are like women in their 20s who are attracted to men in their 40s, and a man in his 40s with money and status could get a lot of women in their 20s, if that makes sense. But the average woman in her 20s does not prefer a man in his 40s. You know, they would just want a man that's close to their age. There is still a preference for a man that's older, but not like 20 years older. You know, like within a 5-year range, maybe 10-year range, probably less than that. So yeah, the idea that the average 20-something-year-old woman is just looking for a man her dad's age or whatever is wrong. Side note also, Kevin Samuels, if you listen to his rhetoric, he is really trying to advocate for a world low-key where middle-aged men just have free access to women in their early 20s, because he tells men under 35 not to date seriously. Then he says that women have their most value below 30. He himself's 55. So what does that mean? You know, advocating for a world where middle-aged men have no competition to date their daughter's friends, basically. So it's a lot of weird stuff coming out of his mouth. But just the manosphere in general, a lot of weird ideology. It's another thing that's coming out here.
That's another one on you lies. No, younger women are attracted to older men. What are you talking about?
So can you see me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So do you feel like a woman like me?
Uh-huh. What would you rank yourself on a scale from 1 to 10? You cannot use 7.
Would I rate myself?
Just your face.
So, Kevin Samuel's sixth scale, he always says you can't use 7 on a ranking out of 1 to 10. Does anyone know what the logic behind that is? That it seems completely stupid to me. I can't even think of it. Yeah, in the comments, if any of you know, please let me know.
My face when I wake up 5, but when I put myself together 6.
Okay. And how tall are you?
5.
By the way, I think it's sad. One, I don't really like the whole rating out of 10 thing. I think there's a lot of issues with it. Basically, there's no objective standard for beauty, so what the hell does that even mean? But also, I think it's sad she doesn't give herself a 10. I think that speaks to a lot of the low self-esteem that black women tend to have. Just like all black people have low self-esteem. That's where we come out for black women today. So I would just say that's sad. Also, low self-esteem probably one reason she even decided to talk to a man like Kevin getting validation from either herself or someone she knows that has her best interest at heart instead of just some guy on the internet trying to insult people. But anyway.
Dress size.
I'm sorry?
Your dress size.
A 3.
Okay, so that makes you, if you give yourself a 5, that's average.
Yes.
So average looking women tend not to get high earning men. They tend to get average men.
So,
did you, I mean, stop right there. Stop right there. Stop right there. Breathe and digest. You're 35 years old and you can look around and see the world. You don't tend to see higher earning men with average looking women off rip. If you do see them, they got their average looking woman when they were both really young and he built his way up. But a man earning the kind of money you're talking about does not go for an average looking woman.
I mean, my body is not average, so.
But ma'am, you please don't make me say it.
Say what? I really just wanted some advice. I love your.
I'm giving you advice, but you're not taking it. The advice is, ma'am, you're average looking at best.
And there it is, the tagline quote of the original video, the one that made Kevin Samuels go viral. You're average at best. Now, that is not something that should ever be said to anyone. That there's no purpose to saying that other than to just destroy someone's spirit. There's just nothing constructive about that at all. That is done to humiliate someone else. And this comes to kind of the main thing I wanted to talk about and react to this video, because Kevin Samuels is what I call a spiritual crocodile. Now, what is that? So I'm sure a lot of y'all have heard of a spiritual vampire, which is someone who essentially leeches off of your spirit to survive. And that's a very real thing, by the way. A lot of people today don't believe that spirit or aura, is it could maybe more accurately be called, even though it's called more. Anyway, spirit, a lot of people don't believe it's real, but it is. It's just as much a part of our being as our bodies. We need to survive. So then certain people, if they're deficient in spirit because of some trauma or ill health, whatever, they'll leech off of other people's spirit in order to sustain themselves. And what that usually looks like is could either be putting the other person down or demanding the other person to exert a lot of their energy. So when that's done to sustain, when someone does that to another person to sustain themselves, that's known as a spiritual vampire. And that's a very deep topic. I'll talk about that eventually. In fact, I'm going to give a lecture on all of this. Y'all are getting trailers basically for all these lectures I'm going to give. But anyway, a spiritual vampire can take many forms. But one characteristic of a spiritual vampire, in my opinion, is that the goal is generally not to completely destroy the person they're leeching off of. They do harm them, but they don't want to destroy them because they need that continued source of spirit from that person. And also in many cases, spiritual vampires is another characteristic, aren't doing what they're doing intentionally. They can be doing it subconsciously. So they don't necessarily mean harm even if they cause it. But a spiritual crocodile like Kevin Samuels, unlike a spiritual vampire, wants to completely destroy the person they're dealing with. Like you know how a crocodile just waits. Let's do a comparison between a vampire bat and a crocodile, right? So a vampire bat, if any of you know how vampire bats work, they'll go up to a large mammal and they'll suck some of its blood, but they won't kill that animal. They'll keep going back to that animal to suck the blood. Not good for that animal, but the animal's not dead, right? A crocodile will lie in wait and then rise up out of the water, and whatever it got in its jaws, that thing is gone. Bam! Completely eaten, just completely destroyed, consumed. Well, Kevin Samuels here, he doesn't want this woman to go on. He's destroying her, because if he wanted her to go on, he'd be giving her some constructive criticism or some reason to come back, something. He just wants his lady's spirit dead. He wants her gone, destroyed, right? And he destroys her spirit and consumes it for himself. So he's what I call a spiritual crocodile. And, you know, anyone like that, you just mean people, you know, harm. And you're just a bad influence and a bad actor. So, yeah, and I think it's really troubling that a man like this has become so popular from doing things like this to particularly black women. I mean, to be fair, he does it to all the black men he encounters as well, but it's just because he's on YouTube and YouTube has more men than women, it's more lucrative for him to destroy women in public than men in public. And then, of course, because anti-blackness is everywhere, if he gives an anti-black taint, he can make money. So part of this is his business strategy, and part of it is the man himself. I think he's also just a coon. So those two things come together, and you get terrible things like this. But anyway.
I'm taking it in, but...
Okay, but you're not accepting the fact that... Okay. Average-looking women. Average-looking woman who's older. Average-looking older woman with a 13-year-old son. Average-looking woman with a 13-year-old son with a sketchy baby daddy. This gets worse every time I say something. And now you're asking for a man who's in the top 10% of men. You don't qualify for one. And you're making, I mean, I don't want to have to go there, but when you put in all these other factors, why can't you just get a man that's an average guy?
Sometimes I feel like in order to fully submit, I have to feel like he's in.
Well, then you're gonna die alone. How about that? Let me just cut to the chase, ma'am.
And there it is. Even part that might be worse, telling her that she's gonna die alone. Because again, he hasn't even collected enough information to really even make a full judgment on her situation in the first place, in my opinion. Because most of the time when she's trying to go in depth on her thoughts and what she's been experiencing, he just cuts her off, and he doesn't ask questions to get more of that information out. He just wants to pick at certain things he can use to destroy her. But then also, if you look at the larger social context, right, because globally, right, black people are at war with Eurasians. They're trying to kill us. Because of the way in which they wage wars, created gender imbalance, right? Because they killed more men than women, right? And then on top of that, polygamy, and I guess this non-monogamy in general, has been denormalized as a practice among black people. So then, in general, in most places, there are some exceptions in certain parts of the world, but for the most part, mandatory monogamy is the norm. So what does that mean? If you have more men, or if you have more women than men, and then the women and men are only allowed to pair monogamously, you end up with a surplus of women who have no partner. And these people have a very hard time finding a partner. And then tack on top of that a lot of the racist beauty standards, which Kevin Samuels, by the way, uses to judge women out of 10. By the way, another thing is, this man always acts like black women being not a size 1 makes him unattractive to men like him. Not white men, black men in general. I mean, everyone's different. Black men in general like them a little thicker. I'm not talking like obese, but like, you don't have to be a size 0. In fact, you're a size 0, less likely to be attracted to black men. So I don't, and we know black women tend to have more like wider hips and things. So I mean, it works out. But that's a again, that in itself is a deeper topic. Long story short, the standards they just don't make any sense, both practically and then also toward in terms of what we should aspire towards. But anyway, because of those racist beauty standards I'm talking about, then unfortunately, um, a lot of black women have difficulty being found attractive by men, so that further exasperates the problem. And none of this is the fault of black women per se. At least no, definitely less so than any other. Um, Let me say that. Let me say it like this. Obviously, they didn't. Black women didn't create this situation, and they, they don't maintain it more than anyone else does. So, you know, and dealing with a very hard situation. So to then tell a black woman in that context you're gonna die alone, that's real heavy. You're really playing into some deep wounds for no just cause. Because we should be trying to progress past the point where we have this problem. Look for a solution to that problem. Tell black women who are butting up against this problem there is light at the end of the tunnel. That's not what he's doing. He's just destroying her. So then telling her she's gonna die alone, and as if there's, I mean, she's 35. She has like average life expectancy for black women in the U.S. is 78. So on average, probably gonna at least have, what is that, like 43 years of her life left. Could be more. He said he knows for sure in that time he's not gonna find someone. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's just something you say to put people down, and it sends a bad message not only for this woman but for everyone watching. It's putting out a lot of bad energy into the air. So I'm just not a fan of that at all.
You can feel like what you want to, but women like you die alone, straight up, because you think you're better than the men that you qualify for. And the only reason, honestly, ma'am, that I can see a woman like yourself really thinking you deserve more is because you earn more money than most people around you in North Carolina. But if your ass worked at the post office, you would not think so highly of your opportunities. And that's the reality. Men don't care about your money. Not the kind of men that you want. We don't care about your money. It ain't ours. We care about the fact that you are older and you got kids. And you're average. And your reality of your life has showed you that. You don't have the kind of men that you want knocking on your door trying to find you. See, what we've done in this country, this world, is we've told women like yourself that you can have it all, and you got a Prince Charming who's 6 foot, 6 feet tall, 6-figure income, jawline, all this other kind of stuff. And I'm sorry, man. No. Most people get average people, especially average people. You're an average person. I mean, let's be real. You're not running Microsoft. You got a pet grooming business.
I mean, she's making 6 figures from the business. I don't know why. It's a bad thing. Again, he's just trying to put her down.
He's been making 6 figures for the last 3 years. Okay.
He's been making 6 figures longer than he has. That's the ironic part about that statement.
But if I'm looking at you, if I looked at you and I took all that off of you, all the eyelashes and all the hair, what do you look like under there?
I mean, I look the same.
No, you don't. Because if you did, you wouldn't have all that on.
I'm sorry?
No, you don't. You don't look the same because if you did, you wouldn't have all that on.
So, what is your advice?
And I will say there is a nuanced conversation to be had about the relationship that women in modern society have with like beauty products and enhancements, and the relationship between that and self-esteem, and especially black women, because again, unfortunately, because of the beauty standards I mentioned, a lot of them are trying to conform to the racist beauty standards, which isn't healthy. But again, like this is not how you go about that conversation. He's not doing this to build up her health. He's just trying to destroy her. What he's doing is no different than a 12-year-old boy insulting his classmate about wearing a weave. It's crude and unsophisticated. There's nothing good behind it.
For women that.
All right, I'll tell you my advice, man, because you're not listening to me. This is why I always recommend you need therapy. People think most of us in the black community need therapy, but you're not dealing with it.
He's telling her she needs therapy as if he doesn't need therapy. Because this man, again, he's had 2 divorces, right? He grew up in a single parent household, and from stuff he says, it seems he has some resentment towards his mother. To be fair, he's never openly said anything bad about his past wives and any of that, but from his rhetoric, it seems like there's some hurt from those relationships. So, if you look at him, clearly he needs therapy, but then he's running around acting as if he's perfect, telling her that she needs therapy. He just, insulting her for no reason. So, it's just ironic. It's crazy.
Reality. I asked you about your child's father, and you couldn't answer me. But it doesn't sound like you're too proud of him. What kind of student is your child?
He's an A student.
Does he have any behavioral problems?
No, he actually got a YouTube channel, and he's trying.
I don't need that. No. But where is it? But his daddy is still. If his daddy is alive, does he have a relationship with his father?
Yeah, he does.
Then what's your issue with him?
He's not business minded like my father and my uncle. And
then why did you choose to make a baby with him before you got married?
Young and dumb. I was 16.
Exactly, and that cost. See? Yeah. That young and dumb shit, let me stop you right here. That young and dumb shit you black women throw out as if it's supposed to get... Listen.
Again, like, another reason it's just so hard to understand. I know why he's doing it, but it's not logical. Just, thinking that one mistake is supposed to define a person, but then also just not even listening to the full context. Like, if he wanted to understand this lady's relationship with the father of her child, you have to talk to her for a lot longer. That's a whole relationship. He's judging it off of one phrase she threw out. It's crazy, man. He's just in for blood. Spiritual crocodile.
And listen well, women. Young and dumb is not a get out of jail free card. It doesn't go woof and change the fact. You still have to carry that consequence. And men are not rushing up.
The consequence is supposed to be dying alone. I hope this man never runs for office. He's going to institute some crazy punishments for crimes. Oh, Lord have mercy, man.
To be stepfathers to 13-year-olds. What would be better is if you honestly sat down and asked yourself, what value can I bring to a man?
And I know that, what I can.
Well, all right. What value? What is it?
What is it? I can help him with his business. I'm very business minded on the end of helping organize. And I plant into planting my own garden, so I can definitely plant. I'm into improving my etiquettes with just self-improvement and working on myself. And
ma'am, at 35 years old, here's what you told me. I can help him with his business. Due respect, ma'am, and I mean no disrespect, but 20 to 30% of people own businesses. What about the 70 to 80% of men who don't own them? That means that doesn't matter.
What if she bumps into one of the 20 to 30% of men? Like, this man must have failed math in school. That's not how it works. Oh, Lord have mercy.
That means nothing to the average man. Then the next thing you said, I can plant. Ma'am, that means nothing to most people because we go to grocery stores. Then you say self-improvement. I gave you a shot at saying what you have to offer to men, and you said nothing that we value.
What do you value? What do y'all?
Book a session. I'm not doing this. Nope. I'm done. I've tried to go around, but this has happened.
He's done after 22 minutes. Okay.
The older you ladies get, the more you get set in your ways. Book a session because I don't want to do this in public, man. Because you seem like a sweet woman.
If he didn't want to do this, why did he just do it for over 20 minutes? Doesn't make any fucking sense.
But you're not getting it.
You're being so mean.
I'm not being. Don't tell me I'm being mean. I'm about to be mean. I get tired of you broads telling me I'm being mean because you cannot handle the goddamn truth. You called my show on a day that you ain't even supposed to be here, and I honored the call and sat here and tried to help you, and I'm telling me I'm being mean. Get the fuck out of my phone. Tired of y'all doing this shit. It's not hard to fool me.
Alright, and then mood music out. Alright, that's the end of the video. Oops. Alright. So, yeah, let me make myself a little bigger. Anyway, so thanks for watching till the end. Just to give closing thoughts. By the way, you can see my background. I'm actually filming this in my closet. You know, I live in an apartment. Didn't have a lot of other space to record the video, but we make do. Tell me in the comments if you like this location or not. Maybe I'll make it a thing. Commentary reaction in the closet comments. I mean, I'm not gonna change the name of the series, but, you know, I don't know. Maybe I'll incorporate the closet thing somehow. I guess I could change the name of the series. I don't know. Tell me what you think in the comments. But anyway, giving closing thoughts straight from the closet, and I mean my literal closet, not the sexuality closet. But anyway, yeah. So I think that video just epitomized, you know, almost everything I think is wrong with the manosphere in general, especially the black manosphere. Just antagonistic relationships between men and women, specifically men antagonizing women, doing so based upon an anti-black ideology, anti-black standards. And just really, in that video, Kevin Samuels just seeking to destroy her spirit completely. And that's not a small thing, because since your spirit is just as important to your well-being as your body, an attack on your spirit is just as bad as an attack on your body. So I think we should view what Kevin Samuels did there as just as bad as he punched her in the face, honestly. Because he basically punched your spirit in the face, or worse, and he broke its neck. And, you know, that's why he's what I call a spiritual crocodile. He, you know, lies in wait in a little cesspool of a channel. He attracts, you know, misguided women to it. And, you know, like, you know, animals on the savannah, when they go down to drink out of that water, he pops up out of his dirty little watering hole and destroys them. It's not good at all. So, you know, I see his rhetoric and his ideology doing a lot of harm. So I don't really, you know, I don't believe in canceling people, so I wouldn't say he should be canceled. But generally, I wouldn't recommend that anyone watch his content regularly, if at all. And certainly, if you're a woman, a black woman especially, I don't recommend that you call into his show, because all he's going to do is destroy your spirit. So yeah, but anyway, those are my thoughts on that video. I think we as black people need to aim to do the opposite of that, and people in general should aim to do the opposite of that. Black people in general, I think we've been socialized to, I mean, that's on the more extreme end of things, but still, we've been socialized to act similar to that towards each other, and it's really destroying our communities. We shouldn't do that. We certainly shouldn't put that out for the world to see, for other black people everywhere to see, to absorb that, for people, other white people to see, and have our image further denigrated, and then have them use that to justify further oppression. So yeah, I'm just not a fan of that. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Thank you for watching this again. Again, whatever platform you're watching this on, please like and subscribe, or follow, and let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you, and I'll see you guys next time.